So it's come to my attention that not all of you had a good father figure growing up. So if your father went out to go pick up cigarettes and never returned, take it from a guy whose father did go out to get cigarettes but did return. I feel like that's insensitive. Coming up. Hello and welcome back. My name is Jesse Crisanti. Why do I bring up my father, or your lack of a father? Because my dad wasn't an incredible guy. I mean, he was an okay dad. He's what they would call in an Italian deli, hey, he's alright. He was a good dad, but he failed in a lot of ways. Now, despite his shortcomings, my dad did teach me one really important thing that really stuck with me my whole life, up until now, obviously. This is coming from a guy who didn't have a job, okay? And he knew, and he was able to apply it, and it was, looking back, I can see it at work in his life. It's stuck with me ever since. My dad taught me a really important lesson about priorities. Now, what he told me was, when you're young and you're single, the only person you have to worry about is yourself, which is, okay, reasonable. But as soon as you become old enough as a teenager and you get your first car, suddenly you have something that you have to really take responsibility of. If you're up here, you're number one in your life. Well, if you get a car, you kind of get bumped down to number two, because now everything you do, like, you have to make sure you get gas for that car and that you perform maintenance on that car. Why? Because if you get a job, all of a sudden you get bumped down to number three, because you need to have a job to pay for the car and the car to get to the job. So these two things suddenly become more important than the third thing, which is now you, right? Because if you lose the job, you can't pay for the car, and if you don't take care of the car, you can't get to the job. Okay, tracking with me? Now, say you're doing pretty good with the car and you do pretty good at the job, and you end up going out and you get your first place. Well, now you have rent, or you have a mortgage, and you're paying for a house or an apartment. Now, all of a sudden, you're down here at number four, because now you have the car, the job, and the house, okay? Because you need to maintain the job in order to get the house payment through, and you're getting these responsibilities. Spoiler alert, this is adulthood and it never stops, okay? Now, you're doing pretty good. You got your car, you got the job, you got the house, you got somewhere to live, you're on your own, you're like, I'm cool, I'm gonna get a dog. So now you get a dog. Now, this is where it starts getting heavy, because now you have a actual life depending on you coming through and performing. You have the dog, you have the house, you have work, and you have the car. Suddenly you're number five, okay? Without you, none of this is important, but you're always gonna be there, so you can see where this is going. You meet a girl, you start a family, you start having kids. Say, in this whole list, let's just pretend like we're focusing on relationship with a wife, okay? Now, you're dealing with all these things. Like, all these things have to be addressed, right? These are all important things. So you have to go to work to put food on the table for yourself, for your dog, for your wife, for your kids, all these things. So, like, car is essential, job is essential, home is essential, and relationships are essential, because you need to be building relationships with all these people. But what does that look like? So with the example of the wife, you still have to make time in your schedule with all these things to actually love your wife and actually spend time with your wife. And the same thing goes with however many kids you have, because as soon as you start failing to come through in one of these areas, things are going to start falling apart a little bit. When my dad told me this, it really was a really effective way to frame it all in a way that, like, okay, this is tangible, I can see this, and it has helped me ever since, and I'm hoping that it'll help you. So if you have any questions on this, or if you disagree, leave me a comment down below, and I hope that this is a little tip for your life that you can apply to yourself, and that can keep you from crashing and burning. If you want to get a hold of me, you can find my contact information down in the blah blah, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. If you haven't done that yet, that's going to help out a lot with the algorithm. You've heard this from every single creator of all time, but that helps the channel grow, and I want to be able to reach as many people as possible, and I want you to be a part of that. So until next time, thank you for coming out and joining me today, and I will catch you next time.